Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Tuesday, February 18th. Friendly reminder, the markets are closed on Monday for President's Day. This will be a technical analysis breakdown, so if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. First off, a couple clarifications. Number one, the candlestick that you see right there will be moving around and changing. That is because the market's still open for a small amount of time. But I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. Second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. So stock number one, ticker symbol MGOL. Crazy mover on this one. And this one caught me a little off guard because last I'd seen it during the day, it was up around this area, doing very well, up over $1, and then pulled it up this afternoon, and the price had just come down a whole lot. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that level as it served its purpose for now. Now, I'm still holding out some hope for this one from a technical standpoint. So the reason why I'm not willing to say that everything is totally destroyed or ruined or anything is because, to be fair, the price is still honoring. It is still respecting and staying above that purple line there, which on my chart denotes a 50-period moving average. So while that doesn't guarantee anything, it does still make it valid and plausible to think that maybe, just maybe, the price gets some sort of curl back up off of that area. Now, if the price comes down there and breaks through that purple line, at that point, I can see the price heading down to that gap close location. You can see right there the gap, but that location down around the 49-cent mark. Now, there's no guarantees. Just if the purple line fails, that doesn't mean for sure the price is going to go downwards. I'm just saying that there's really aren't any other areas of support until down around that area right there. If the price does try to turn itself back around, then in the very near term, key level resistance now watch seems as though there's a little bit of a sideways channel that has formed with the top of the channel right there around the 80-cent mark. So yeah, brutal day today after a fantastic start, but the price is still holding above that purple line, so we'll see if the bulls can get some sort of bounce next week. Next one here, MBRX. Did this one yesterday's video and how things had pulled back there. Very nice bounce off of that today with the gap up, and then the price is pulled back, and then pretty much went quiet the rest of the day, and I just mean quiet in the sense of volume. Volume dropped off in a very big way. I mean, look at that first 30 minutes of volume, and then after that, not a whole lot. But on the good news front, at least the price didn't slowly bleed downwards or anything like that. The price did at least go sideways. Now, just because something went sideways does not mean for sure guaranteed it's getting ready to head back up. My point here is it at least makes sense to think that maybe any sort of downwards move is over now with the sideways movement. But that's also where I would say this level comes into play and is an important area right here at $1.85 as support. Again, no fancy reasoning other than the fact of, okay, that seems to be the bottom part of this sideways movement. So as long as that price holds above there, then you could make the argument that the price is still working on building a higher base. And then on the flip side of things, in terms of areas of resistance, key level right there around $2.30. So at this point in time, it really does seem as though a sideways channel could be kind of what happens into next week, with just the big question mark of who's ultimately going to win this battle. Do the bears win with the push to the downside? Do the bulls win with the push to the upside? We'll see what happens. Next one here, JTAI, and overall, a big explosive move, big volume today. Got a bit of a pullback, so there's a little bit of perspective. I mean, if you're some sort of day trader, flipper, scalper, and you bought right there and your plan was to buy and sell within, 3 minutes, well then, yeah, from that standpoint, perspective, the chart looks terrible. But assuming you care about the bigger picture point of view, the chart's hanging in there. First key area that stands out more so from the support side of things is there's this nice little uptrending trend line there. So let's get that changed to green for support. And then in terms of areas of resistance, I think a lot of people have drawn that trend line in right there. Let me make these a little bit more proportional. There we go. So essentially you have this wedge formation, and as you see, the wedge itself is running out of room. So it just becomes a question of, well, who's ultimately going to win this battle here? Given the gap up nature and the bullish context that creates, I'd personally think that the bulls have the advantage. But again, there's no guarantees. So it's not like for sure guaranteed the price is going to make an explosion upwards. But would it shock anybody if the price broke through that trend line right there and then got some upside buying pressure? I don't think anybody would be caught off guard by that and say, well, geez, I had no idea that was coming. So more of the story, though, have a nicely well-defined wedge headed into next week. So we'll see who ultimately wins this back and forth battle. Next one, SOUN, and a very, very brutal day on this one with the gap down. On the bright side of things, and this will mean more to those of you that have traded for a while, but if you have experience, I'm sure you've seen stocks that gap down, and then after that gap down, it just does something like this. It's one lower low after another, and that was not the case here. During that opening 30 minutes, the price did drop down to that 1040, but after that, the price did bounce, and then you can see it did come down, got somewhat close to it right there, but once again held before a little bit of a bounce back upwards. So overall, like I said, the chart's seemingly hanging in there. It's not letting things spin out of control or have some sort of total bleed out or anything like that. So don't get me wrong. Yes, it was a rough day. You can't deny that. But at least the price is at least showing some signs of strength in the form of not allowing it to go any further than the lows from that opening 30 minutes. So 1040, going to be a very important level to watch moving forward. And then in terms of areas of resistance, seems to be a little bit of a nearer term one right there at about $11.20. And then the next key level up there right at those highs from the first couple of candles of the day up around $11.90. But yeah, rough day today, no doubt about it. But price is trying to go sideways, is trying to kind of digest all the selling. So we'll see if the buyers can show back up next week. Next one here, NVDA, and this will mean a little bit more to those of you that watched yesterday's video. But if you did, talked about that resistance line right there. And a beautiful example of charts. Price gapped up above there. And when that happens, levels of resistance you want to see act as support. So broke out, came down, and look at that, right off of that line. And I promise I've not moved that line. If you don't believe me, I'm not offended. Just go back and watch the video from yesterday in the archive, and you'll see exactly what I mean. But overall, great movement here. NVIDIA is rocking and rolling once again. So just to offer up, in fact, I'm going to go to the 4-hour time frame. 4 hour means each one of these candlesticks now represents 4 hours worth of time. So you're seeing here that the price is well up in an area of the chart that it's not seen for quite a while. So going into next week, next key area of resistance going to be right there around that 141.85 mark. So keep an eye on 141.85. And then if NVIDIA really just wants to go into beast mode, next key area of resistance after that would be right around the 147.60 mark. So as right now, though, there's no guarantee that it's going to shoot straight up to 141.85. But my point is that when you look back here, there just isn't anything there that suggests any areas of resistance until 141.85. So definitely have some nice momentum in the near term. Let's go back to the 30-minute time frame here. And you can see that in terms of just how it's been grinding. In terms of levels of support, I think the most clean way to measure this now moving forward is just going to be to use that purple line there, 50-period simple moving average. Keyword being moving, so as time goes by, that line is going to move itself higher and higher. And as long as the price stays above that line, as the line itself moves higher and higher, then the bulls are in full control. But yeah, no doubt about it. Very, very impressive way to end the week here for NVIDIA. Real quick, want to take a break and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online webinar that I'm offering next week. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency and manage risk, then definitely get signed up for the free live class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box you can use. Or if you're watching right at my website, there's an area on the webpage you can use to sign up. So like I said, if you've been enjoying, then definitely get signed up for the free class. Next one here, looking at Tesla, TSLA, and this will mean more to those of you that watched your previous video, but put that resistance line in place and the power of charts. You can see this morning, that's essentially right where the price did get rejected. Now on the good news front, it's not like it got rejected, came down, and then just kept bleeding. It did have a nice afternoon where it went sideways a little bit, and now it's got a little upward slope to it. So moving into next week, public enemy number one from a resistance standpoint going to be that trend line right there. And then from more of the overarching standpoint, the key overall level going to be that pink line there, 200-period moving average. But one hurdle at a time. Prices first got to prove itself that it can get above that resistance line right there, and then you can put more emphasis on that. So those will be the main battlegrounds in terms of areas of support. The ideal level, I mean, hey, Clay, what would make this chart look the best moving forward? Certainly if the price can stay above that purple line right there, 50-period moving average, right now valued at 345.20. But if the price does not hold above it, not the end of the world. I would definitely call the 335.60 mark very, very important. And I'm not saying this will occur, but just for explanation's sake, if the price were to come down here and then break down below it, all of a sudden, you'd have the price having gone right back to where it all was. And I mean, not to insult your intelligence, but price movements that make great moves and then go right back to where they started, not exactly a sign of genuine strength. So like I said, I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. I'm just explaining why, in my opinion, at least 335.60-ish is a very important area of support. But all in all, let's see if Tesla can get a break up through those levels next week. Next one here, SMCI, and I've been tracking this one pretty closely, and the upwards movement continues. Got the break right there. Absolutely fantastic move through that trend line right there. I'm going to just go ahead and do some house cleaning and get rid of all those levels, as we now have nearer term levels that need to be mapped out. So as far as, hey, Clay, what would make this chart the absolute strongest moving forward? That would certainly be if the price can continue to maintain above that 45.80-ish area. You can see today several times the price was down around that level, but to give credit where credit's due, the bulls held strong every single time. Now, if the price does fall below there, not the end of the world. There's still plenty of other areas of support. But like I said, that was just based on the premise of what would make this chart look the absolute strongest moving forward. and that would be that level right there. In terms of the next area, just continue to watch that purple line there, which you now know is a 50-period simple moving average. So as time goes by, that line is going to continue to move itself higher and higher, and you just want the price to stay above there. And then in terms of more so kind of, yeah, I do want to get that in place. Yeah, I like that trend line a lot. I think that's going to carry some significance at some point in the future. So I'm going to also monitor that level too as an overarching area of support. In terms of areas of resistance, let's go to the 4-hour time frame. Again, each one of these represents 4 hours. Next key battleground to watch from the resistance standpoint now, and where the price could very realistically be headed, given that it's almost already there, right there at $48.15. And then after $48.15, next key level up there, right around $50.50, next key areas of resistance. But I mean, check it out. Not that long ago was down here, now all the way up here. We'll see if the momentum carries into next week. Next one here, taking a look at SRM. Excuse me. Nice start to the day. Pulled back. And one of these situations where it starts to pull back and you always got to throw out there, was this a gap and trap? Is this some sort of pump and dump? And seemingly not, because the price eventually did level out and start to head back up a little bit. But at least it went sideways. And as I mentioned earlier, sideways does not mean for sure guaranteed this pullback is over, but it becomes a whole lot more plausible compared to the price just dropping, and then me saying, hey, this could be the bottom, because you'd be totally justified to say, what are you talking about? The price literally just dropping. But not so in this situation. It has started to go sideways. So keep an eye on 60 cents, as that's kind of the line in the sand in terms of, where the consolidation has seemingly arrived and has gone sideways at. And then the top of this sideways action, right up here around the 71 cent mark. So keep an eye on that. And no guarantees, but plausible in my mind that if the price can come up here in key dynamic here, high volume break. So not some sort of little volume bar like this, but a good high volume break. You got to like the chances of it, trying to make it an adventure back up to here, if not even higher. But again, it's got to be a high volume break of that 71 cent mark. So nice start, rough pullback here, but with the sideways movement here, it does become a valid situation of, is this pullback over and getting ready to curl back upwards? We'll see what happens. Next one here, SPGC, and good strong start here. Now we have some very well-defined levels. So let's start with pullback areas. So an area of support that I could see making sense and interesting right here at that 85 cent mark. You can see this was a previous area of resistance, and just basic technical analysis, when levels of resistance are broken and closed above, you want to see them act as support, which actually already took place right there. So if this comes down, is it guaranteed to bounce next week? Of course not, no guarantees. Is it plausible? Is it rational to think that it could bounce from that area? Absolutely. So from a support standpoint, keep a close eye on that 85 cent mark. In terms of areas of resistance, I don't know if people are going to use these exact 2 points, but I think something very similar. A lot of people are going to have a trend line like that in place. And when a lot of people are watching the same levels and wondering the same thing, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want. It can definitely produce some upwards, movement. So if the price comes up here and breaks up through there, logical to think that that break in and of itself could create upside buying pressure. So all in all, nice movement today, nice bull pennant pattern here. So we'll see if the bulls can show back up and create a breakout next week. Next one here, INTC, and overall hanging in there. Bit of a pullback here, especially a big spike right there. But in all, now when the dust has pretty much settled, I think that's going to be more of an accurate trend line right there. There we go. Yeah, I like that better. So we have a resistance trend line right there. You could draw a lower trend line down here if you wanted to, but I'm just going to go ahead and use the lazy method. I'm just going to use the 50-period moving average as the quote-unquote trend line and let it draw itself for me, because remember, a moving average is going to keep on moving as time goes by. So if you want to just let the trend line, again, in air quotes, draw itself for you, you could use that purple line there. But going into next week, it's pretty much just one big wedge. So we have the top of the wedge, we have the bottom of the wedge, and as you notice, the room is running out. So it just goes to that question of who's ultimately going to win this battle with the wedge. Do the bears win with the push to the downside? Do the bulls win with the push to the upside? Grab your popcorn and we'll find out. But I think that a lot of people are going to be watching that dynamic. Who's going to win this wedge battle? We'll see what happens. So that wraps up the top 10 list. Again, if you like what you saw here and you want to learn more, then definitely get signed up for the free class next week. It'll be Thursday, February 20th at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So I hope to see you there. As far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy these and you're looking to support the channel in a super free and easy way, please hit that subscribe button. It really does help out. So thanks for watching. Remember, the markets are closed on Monday for President's Day, so nothing until Tuesday. But thanks for watching. Take care. Have a great weekend, and make sure you get signed up for the free class.